Today's episode of the BS Podcast brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor, the only fan-friendly app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music. We're in the midst of October. Baseball, hockey, basketball, NFL, and college football going on. You need SeatGeek. Drop your old ticket app. Use OneBill for 2016. Buy tickets and enter stadiums on your phone. Download the free SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. They bring the mortgage process into the 21st century. Do everything on your phone or tablet. If you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/Bill Simmons, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030. Again, quickenloans.com/Bill Simmons. Don't forget about my new HBO show, Any Given Wednesday. We're off this week, then we come back with 6 straight, 10 p.m. every Wednesday. Watch the old ones on HBO Go and HBO On Demand. And don't forget about TheRinger.com and the Ringer Podcast Network. We have Jimmy Kimmel coming up in a little bit with Sal and I. Don't forget, Saturday night, October 15th, Boston, Massachusetts. Jimmy and I are doing a live show at the Schubert Theater. All proceeds will benefit Harvard scholars at risk. There are still a few tickets available. Go to citycenter.org, CITI center.org, or call 866-348-9738. And we are off.
Yeah. Clear enough for you? All right. Yeah.
All right, the Cuz is here.
Can you picture us rolling?
It's coming off a 3-0 Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Cousin Sal Sure Thing performance. But you cheated to get 3-0 this week.
How appropriate that I cheated by betting the Patriots. How did I cheat?
It was two cheaters combined. All right, before we get to the week 6 lines, our cousin Jimmy Kimmel is on the line. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, cousins, what's happening?
He's my cousin.
Well, he's both of our cousins. I've known him for almost 14 years. I get to adopt him.
I haven't known him that long. Okay. Yeah, he's your cousin.
Hey, congratulations, cousin Sal.
Thank you. Bill has given me a lot of crap for it because he said I cheated, ironically betting on his Patriots. I cheated because I took the money line. But I will take a win any way I can get it. Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't think you're even taking much credit for it. I mean, there's no triumphant tweets. I mean, you take a page from Donald Trump and pat yourself on the back.
You're right. I should be all over this. You're right.
He's been careful about bragging too much because it's backfired on him in the past. So he's going like, keep your head down, Belichick, do your job.
Yeah.
Since when has Sal ever been careful about anything that's backfired on him in the past?
It's a new me, Jimmy.
My point was that if you have like young aspiring gamblers in high school and college who are following Cousin Sal and his example for the first time and his leadership with bets, not all of them have the bankroll to do a 6-1 money line.
But the point is, so I start with a theoretical $10,000, even though we know it's $100,000. No, but and
usually theoretical goes the other way.
Right, I know I screwed up. But so they can make it 1,000, or they can make it starting with $100 or $10. If you progress at my rate and follow my advice, at the end of the year there will be a positive return.
Yeah, that's fair. I just remember in college, like I started with $200, and then if I lost that, I had to call my parents and pretend I was joining a gym to get $500. So you're basically saying you're asking for the gym membership before they follow your bets.
Everyone should join the gym anyway. Sure.
This is why America is so fat. I didn't realize
it. Cousin Jimmy, you realize that our cousin Sal is in a moral quandary right now with this Dak Prescott, Tony Romo thing. This is basically the most tortuous thing that's ever happened to him as a football fan.
Jimmy
I have to say I feel similarly, and I can't figure out. Here's what I'm going to guess. I'm just going to put these thoughts into it. So he wants Dak to do just well enough that the Cowboys are still in a position to go to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl when Tony comes back. But he wants there to be no question when Tony returns of who the quarterback of that team is.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, that moment has passed, and it's gone. And now there are questions.
Well, the problem is we're running out of time. There's one more game. They play at Green Bay, and then there's a bye, and then Tony is coming back, hopefully, that Halloween week. And I think Dak Prescott's getting a little too much credit for this last game. Here we go. Romo couldn't hold. There was scoreless through 3 quarters, Cincinnati. Romo wasn't going to win that game. Come on.
He would have.
Of course.
And
this is sad.
You have a
if
running
he's
back.
healthy,
You have a running back who has 130 yards, 3 straight games. Everything's falling into place. What's their record with Romo right now? You think they're 2-3? Look how bad the Giants were. Why couldn't Prescott win that game? I think we should be undefeated right now.
Jimmy, you want to handle this?
Well, I listen. I'm with Sal. I love Tony, and I think that with a good team behind him, it's going to go very well this year.
Here would be my counter, and
I see Tony winning the Super Bowl this year.
There you go. I like it.
Well,
with or without the Cowboys.
The problem is if you put your eggs back in the Romo basket, and he's been injured so many times, that if he then gets injured again,
all right,
and now you've lost all these reps with Dak Prescott, who's the young, a little more athletic, a little more durable, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
If as a Patriot fan, I was in this spot in 2001 when Bledsoe got hurt and Brady came in, and by about the 5th week, most intelligent Patriot fans were like, "All right, it's time. Let's go with the young guy." And I think we've reached that point.
But Bledsoe was not very good at that time.
Well, Bledsoe had about as much postseason success as Romo.
Well, we're not in the postseason.
Look at how well the team did before Romo went out last season, and then he came back in and he looked pretty good, and then he got hurt again.
These are all solid points, and they're all colored by the fact that Sal's middle child has the middle name Romo. I just want to point that out. And that you both love Tony Romo, just personally.
No, there's a little bit of bias here, but you have to put the starter in. You have to put him in there.
Jimmy,
he missed 2 games in 4 years before this tragedy last year and late year before. So,
Jimmy, would you agree that the funniest outcome here would be Romo not getting the job back, but the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Come on.
The funniest outcome, for Sal, yes. For Tony Romo, no.
I know I'm going to take shit for this, but I am legitimately rooting against the Cowboys this week for the first time. For the first time in my life.
Wow.
I'll say it. I don't care.
So Tony Romo he's surpassed being a favorite player, and this is like a member of your family.
You could root for logos all you want, Bill.
Yeah, you love Tony
fun.
Romo.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I see it. I mean, you have a personal attachment to him.
Sure.
Of course. The catch is they can't get out of his contract, so he's basically stuck on the Cowboys because it would cost them so much money to get rid of him.
Even that kind of talk is nonsense. They don't want to get out of his contract.
Right. I know. Well, but he has
as much as we love him, Jerry Jones loves him about 8 times more.
He does.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, he has TV. I mean, he's going to have a very lucrative life. He's going to be on TV for 25 years.
All right.
He'll replace Bradshaw, and he'll be on the Fox pregame show in like 2045. Sal's so uncomfortable right now.
I hear this every week, and okay, all right, great.
With a Super Bowl ring on his finger.
That's right.
What's interesting about Sal is he has always been. Athletes are laundry to him, and they just come and go. This is the biggest personal attachment I've seen from you since I've known you.
Are you kidding? Do you know how many times he masturbated to Lee Mazzilli?
Well, that was when he was a kid.
Not really.
Totally different.
It's a couple months ago.
Jimmy, what's going on with you? You had a very successful Emmys. I was really proud of you. You did well. Nobody ever gets reviewed well when they host any award show, and you actually got good reviews, so you made history there. So what happens now? Are you just like, now it's just Trump, Trump, Trump?
Yeah, it kind of is. It's really, here everybody at the show is like, oh, I wish this election would be over already. But I know what's going to happen is on November, it won't be right. There'll be a couple of weeks, and then we'll have Christmas as a topic to carry us through. Mm-hmm. But once we get to January, none of us are going to have any idea what to talk about anymore because we've become so trained to expect comedy from Donald Trump each day. It's almost as if he should be paid a writer's salary.
Yeah.
I remember the first year of your show when Michael Jackson started acting weird, and we got like 4 weeks out of him.
Yeah.
And it really felt like a blessing, and we all felt thankful to him. And meanwhile, Trump has, what's it been now, a year and a half?
I was going to say, like, every now and then we'd submit material to Jimmy, and he'd come fire back to the writers like, "There's not much here, guys. We're a little thin." I think it's been about 18 months since we've been, right? Because Trump is good for like 2 great things that we have to touch on a day.
It's unbelievable. Charlie Sheen is going to have to step up after the beginning of the year and carry this ball. Somebody's going to have to come through for us.
But what happens yesterday where there just wasn't a lot of comedy in last night. It was just more sad and
I
depressing.
disagree. I think there was, first of all, did you see Kenneth Bone at the end of the show?
I did, and Carl Becker.
Okay, he'll be on my show tonight.
Who will be? Ken Bone?
Kenneth Bone.
Yeah.
I should have guessed.
He didn't even sit down before I sent that email out.
I have a feeling he'll be on our show more than just tonight.
You might be right. He might be the guy that helps us next year.
That's right.
Yeah, Dickie's worried already about his job after he saw Ken Bone.
How can you say there was no comedy? Donald Trump threatened to jail Hillary Clinton if he elected.
That's true. Now it seems funny.
I will throw you in jail. That's never happened. Nothing close to that. I guess the closest thing that happened to that would be like Hamilton and Burr firing weapons at each other.
Yeah. Now it seems funnier than it did the first half hour. The first half hour when the family members were there and everybody had those grim looks and they didn't shake hands and Trump just seemed like a wounded animal willing to say anything. I was genuinely frightened.
It used to be, oh my God, did you see Ronald Reagan rolled his eyes when Mondale was talking about supply side?
Right.
Like, oh, that was
He
great.
looked at his watch.
Yeah. Now you're on edge every minute with this.
I was listening to the debate again on the radio after I watched it, and so I was just listening to Donald Trump's voice, and as you were saying, when he came out, he sounded kind of tired, and by the way, he also assembled a group of women that Bill Clinton supposedly had sex with and had a press conference with them.
Yes,
I mean, who has ever done anything like that? It's like a wrestling move. It's crazy, except it's real.
Yeah.
But I was listening to the voice, and I feel like Alec Baldwin's impersonation of Donald Trump is so good because they are the same person.
Oh.
Ooh,
Their
interesting.
voices are almost identical without the imitation, and just that kind of, handsome, like kind of horny guy who's now like hitting a certain age and it's still in that mindset and still has that Long Island kind of echo to his words. I mean, there are a lot of similarities there.
You know, I realized last night watching him do his thing that Baldwin had that phone message once to his daughter. Remember that was a big deal during his divorce?
Yeah.
And yet Baldwin was playing Trump, but Trump would have left the exact same phone message to...
There you go.
Right.
Great example.
It did seem like... But I said to Sal before, like... watching Trump in those first 20 minutes, the only experience I've ever had watching TV like that, where I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was nervous, and I just felt like anything was possible, were a couple of Mike Tyson post-fight interviews in the 90s with Jim Gray, where you just didn't know, like anything was in play, like him punching Jim Gray, him just punching everybody, him saying anything I didn't know was going to happen. And yet here it was with a debate with 70 million people watching.
I would add to that every night of the first year of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Jeff Ross and Suge Knight and Pillow Fight. There was a lot. It was a wild
Anna
west.
Nicole Smith slipping in birthday cake and falling.
Right.
Oh my, I forgot about that. Ralphie May fell too.
Yeah. A lot of falling.
A lot of people fell back then. There were a lot of injuries.
When Jeff Ross hosted and Lamas came on and Matt and Trey were there from South Park, that's online, that 11 minutes. And the South Park guys started heckling Lamas, and it seemed like Lamas might actually attack them. It's on the internet. It's pretty great.
As I recall, Matt and Trey's plan was to fart on Lorenzo Lamas' head.
I think they almost did it.
That was what they wanted to do, but just physically it wasn't convenient.
So would you have Trump on again, or would you? You would, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
But you wouldn't have. It wouldn't be a kid's glove type of situation.
Well, they're interviews. They're not necessarily endorsements, and I don't think one experience that everybody seemed to dislike rules him out as a late night talk show guest. I mean, I would love to have him. I'd love to know. What I'd ask him right now is, he says no one respects women more than he does. I think I'd have to get him to admit that there are at least like 9 or 10 people in the world who respect women more than he does. I mean, he can't be number one. He just can't.
I think he's thought this through. I don't agree with you.
What do you think the arc is after he loses the election, which he probably will? Like, I would guess
I think he starts his own Donald Trump.
Right, Trump TV.
network,
Yeah.
and he goes against Fox News, and suddenly Fox News becomes the CNN with MSNBC, and I think it'll be. I think he'll do very well with it.
I think he contests the election first. I think he spends a good 6 months contesting something about it.
It depends on what the margin is, because he doesn't like to, he keeps claiming that he's spending $100 million on this, and I don't believe that for a second. And I just think that contesting an election is an expensive endeavor, and he's going to have to pay for it himself. He doesn't seem to have the support of the RNC anymore. And when he looks at the bill for that, I think he's just gonna claim it was fixed and go from there, because he doesn't believe that it's going to be fixed. He just wants to put that out there.
I was kind of hoping the rumors of Pence dropping out were true last night, because it would have been just amazing to watch somebody scramble for a VP.
They said last night he was going to drop out.
Well, there was a lot
days
of
before.
No, last night there was Twitter buzz that Pence was trying to get out, that he'd had it.
That would be a similar move to when Robert Shapiro denounced O.J. shortly after the verdict.
Right. Did not work for Shapiro. Should we talk about our thing on Saturday night?
Yeah, we have a big event on Saturday in your hometown.
Yep. We're doing it for the Harvard Scholars at Risk. And I think there's some tickets still available. Here's the
people seem to be confused. They think we're giving money to students at Harvard, and it's not the case at all. It's because of the title of the organization. These are scholars whose governments either threaten to or are trying to kill them for the things that they write about their government, and they come from various countries, and Harvard gives them, of course, we fund it, but fellowship so that they can bring their family over and not be killed for what they're writing. So it is literally a life-saving endeavor, and it's a charity organization that was started by someone who's been a friend of mine since I've been in high school. She teaches at Harvard, and it's a really great organization, and it should be a fun night. Bill and I are going to be interviewing each other. It's Kimmel versus Simmons.
Yeah.
We won't actually be fighting. I hope that doesn't disappoint people. But it will be a night. I think we should talk about some of the stuff that happened in the old days when we first started doing the show. I think it would be fun to kind of go through the story of how I happened upon you and how we became, well, as you said, cousins, and now we've kind of formed this little community, broadcasting wise. But I think it should be a fun night, and it's at 8:00 at the Schubert Theater. You can get tickets at citycenter.org, and if you buy tickets that are in the Golden Circle, as our agent Baby Doll just referred to it, you will get a meet and greet with us after the show. So we'll take a picture.
And then also the phone number is 866-348-9738. And if this works out, we're going to do a second live show to benefit Adam Carolla, who's trying to pay for this $5 million car he has. And there will also be a golden circle for that. You'll get to take a picture with us, Carolla, in the car, the $5 million car.
It'll be a golden circle jerk for that one.
Is that Newman Scholars at Risk?
It will be the Newman Museum.
Jimmy, hold on. Is this interview with Bill, is this in lieu of him having you on the HBO show?
Jimmy's coming on the HBO show. I got 8 left this season.
Is he coming on?
I'm there for Bill when he needs when somebody drops out or whatever.
No,
Bill told me off air that he has to have Rappaport on 4 times before he invites you.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Maybe we shouldn't talk. Is that supposed to be a secret?
No, I'm saving him for November.
For November.
Kimmel.
You just hosted the Emmys. You had the third lead you had an extra from the night of on instead of him.
Extra from the night of. No, we're thinking he will be on one of the first 20. Jimmy's busy. He was doing the Emmys.
I'm starting trouble. I know.
He was doing. Do you think I should have had him on sooner?
No. That's something you have to work out.
I remember.
We'll work it all out on Saturday night in Boston.
Do you remember the first few months of your show when we weren't going to have Carolla on?
Well,
and it was like, no, we're gonna wait. Let's have him when we need him to have him on. And then he was on like the 4th episode.
It might not even have been that long. Yeah, they didn't want it to be like the Man Show, and so they said, we really have to use Adam sparingly, and we did. He was only on like 1,000 times.
What's been the Dancing with the Stars? Has that been a bump for you guys this year? Do people?
No, not really.
Lacty?
It's kind of a different audience.
Yeah.
My interest in it is primarily gambling related.
I know,
And
you
we've
always
done
get it
very
right.
well.
Yeah.
We really have done very well. I would venture to say, Sal, would you say you've had a higher percentage lifetime betting Dancing with the Stars or football?
Easily Dancing with the Stars. Well, we're getting
Easily.
nice odds on the winners, so we don't win every year or every other year, but when we win, it's like 4-1 or 6-1,
I
right?
think we've won 50% of the time.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we have.
we have the winner, I think, this year too, right? Hernandez,
Yeah.
the Olympian.
Well,
We
your
couldn't be
strategy
favored.
is
We did-
always you go athletic or somebody with a major dance background.
Right.
Well, we also look at the fan support. Like for instance, if you're a football player from Pittsburgh, you tend to get more phone calls than if you're a soap opera star.
And sometimes the partner helps, like Derek Huff has come through for us when.
Derek Huff
Yeah.
will definitely add some juice to your
right.
performance.
Oh, you get inside info?
No, we
We
know,
just have figured it out.
you look at the trends like everything else.
The partners, so it's like NASCAR drivers.
This is what you should be doing on Facebook, Sal.
This is if Cousin's House Sure Thing is a raging success. We move over to Dancing with the Stars,
That's
all this
right.
other stuff. All right,
That's
who's
right.
on the show this week, Jimmy?
Oh, that's a really great question.
I got it. Hold on.
Sal's got it.
Don Rickles and John Stamos tonight.
Tonight together,
Yeah, together later in the week. We have Jennifer Connelly, Matthew Perry, Nas, Colin Farrell. It's going to be a good week.
All right. Jimmy, go work on your show. I will see you this
Thank you.
weekend in Boston,
right.
Massachusetts, the 617. Thanks for coming
I'll
on.
see you in an
Beautiful.
hour, Jimmy. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye. Hey, do you remember that time when you, me, and Brad watched an entire Sunday of football at a Buffalo Wild Wings outside of Dallas before a Cowboys game?
Yes.
And it was glorious.
Yeah, it was.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. Brad ate so many chicken wings that we had to carry him into the Dallas stadium.
He still hasn't washed his face, I don't think, since that day.
How many years ago was that? Like 4?
Yeah, more. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember if they had 21 signature sauces or seasonings to choose from, but they definitely have that now.
They do now?
I do remember their great lineup of cold and refreshing beers on tap, and I definitely remember their collection of wall-to-wall flat screens that were so big it made our head spin. It was a really fun day. Buffalo Wild Wings covers all of those details so they can add up to the kind of game day experience fans can appreciate, and they do it because they appreciate sports fans. Win or lose, if you're a fan, you're still a winner. If you're enjoying the best game day atmosphere there is, we had that moment that day.
We did.
Did the Cowboys win?
We'll have it again. No, they didn't win.
Yeah.
They lost in
Well,
excruciating fashion. to the
Buffalo Wild
Giants.
Wings was the highlight. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, and sports. And they do it for us because we are football fans. All right.
All right.
Football.
Let's do it.
So Bears we like to write off a team a week. Mm-hmm. So would you write off Browns, 49ers, Dolphins, Bears? Who would be your fifth?
I almost have to put the Chargers in there. I don't see how this team
Chargers?
bounces
Okay.
back. Yeah.
So 5 we're sure the AFC 10 wins can't make the wild card in the AFC?
I don't know. I think that's going to be a battle. It's too many good secondary teams, I think. But I will say this. I think there are 5 teams that are exactly the same for the last 3 years. I think San Diego is one of them. I think Detroit's one. Like you watch their games, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Sloppy.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And on the other side, the Patriots, you know what you're going to get. And the Colts now, I think what I would add to that. Like they're going to be losing in the fourth quarter. T.Y. Hilton's going to that's going to be a clutch touchdown.
Right.
Might be enough, might not be enough. Luck will be scrambling all game otherwise.
I think Luck has been particularly incredible this season because he's getting pounded on touchdowns, on near touchdowns, on everything. And that team should be 0-5.
Right.
He had to make 2 phenomenal throws just to drag out, a 2-3 record. Amazingly, they're 1 back in the AFC South.
And they play this week, right?
Right. And Houston. So Osweiler, I might have to admit I was wrong on that one.
Which
He
way did
really
you go with it? You liked them? Oh.
I liked it. He really impressed me in that Patriots game on the Sunday night. And I just felt like he could throw the deep ball and he could move. And then he's just terrible. And I don't know if,
on the road. Really bad on the road.
I don't know if it's the coach, because I think that coach is bad too, O'Brien. Like that Thursday night game against the Patriots was coaching malpractice. But
he goes on the road against a good team, and it's just it's not going to be close. That's what it seems. But they will be 8-7 week 16. Colts will probably be 8-7 or 7-8, and that's
I think
all
it's
that matters.
I think it could be 6-9, 6-9.
Really? Wow.
I do. I do. It's amazing to me that a team can't figure out how to get DeAndre Hopkins the ball.
Right.
It's always amazing when they can't figure out how to get any receiver the ball, but especially like that, you just think like 5 times a game you just heave it 50 yards downfield and hope something happens.
Yeah.
Like Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, when you watch the way he uses Cooper, I would assume that Hopkins would be used like that. But we say this all the time. Who the hell knows what's going on? I will say the biggest shocker for me this week was the Cowboys just killing the Bengals. I did not see that coming. I like the Bengals. I actually thought the Bengals had a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. It seemed like the kind of game where they lay the smack down, and now clearly something's wrong with them. And on the flip side, your team looked good.
I thought defensively it was crazy. It's insane that they had a shutout into the fourth quarter, and Dak Prescott. I agree, hasn't thrown a bad pass yet, but it somehow was like 28th in the league versus the blitz.
Right.
So I thought Cincinnati would figure something out there, and they didn't. It's just pitch and catch with him, and they're doing enough, and they're scoring points. It's really something to watch.
I wonder if maybe we underrate a really bad playoff loss for the next season.
Oh.
Because you think the Cardinals just – Palmer is not the same since that game, and now he's hurt. And I know they beat the Niners last week, but they were clearly not the same team.
Right.
Carolina has the traumatic Super Bowl loss. They're not the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cincinnati completely blew that Steelers game.
Yeah, you might be right.
And I don't know. You think about it all year. Everybody's right. Maybe they lost some faith in Marvin Lewis. Maybe it's time for Marvin Lewis to go.
Except for the Patriots. The Patriots right the ship. They had as bad playoff loss as anybody. And
yeah,
they still,
I don't even know if you can count them at this point. But to be down 28-0 to the Cowboys, and they were easy touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Like they were either the long drives or long plays, and it was one of those games when they went up 7-0, you knew Dallas was going to win.
Right.
And I don't know. That's
weird loss. But
really
I think that's one of
strange.
those teams you talked about earlier that don't count them out. They're 2-3. You looked at the 2015 teams. They'll be in the playoff picture.
Can I give you my 12 playoff teams right now?
Sure.
Pat, Steelers, Jags. I'm sorry.
No.
Pat, Steelers, Titans, Broncos. Division
Titans?
winners.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'd bet the Titans to be the
Interesting.
shitty AFC South.
I have to look
I think
at
they
that.
can go 8-8.
I thought that was a big loss last week at Houston. That's a.
I think they can go 8-8, and I got the Raiders and Bills as my wild cards. Now I'm going to change this again next week. But this is what if I had to bet my life. Then the NFC: Cowboys, Vikings, Falcons, Seahawks, Packers. Mm-hmm. I would still put the Panthers as a wild card over the Eagles.
Really?
But that second NFC wild card spot, there's like 8 teams that could be in play
Lots
for
of
that.
teams.
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders and Bills have pole position for the AFC wild card, though. The Chiefs, I'm sure, will
I
be
wouldn't
heard
count
from,
the
but
Chiefs out. That's the
yeah,
only one I was going to say.
because the Bills have a pretty easy schedule. Mm-hmm. They go San Francisco at Miami, home New England at Seattle. So those are 2 tough ones. Bye week at Cincy, Jacksonville at Oakland, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Miami all home at the Jets. That feels like 9
Not
wins.
bad. That's a third place schedule.
Yeah, that feels like
That's
9
what
wins.
it looks like.
And then the Chiefs at Oakland, New Orleans, at Indy, home Jacksonville, at Carolina, home Tampa. But then they go at Denver, at Atlanta, Oakland home Thursday night. That's a brutal. At Denver, at Atlanta, Thursday night Oakland.
Yeah.
Then Tennessee, Denver, Sunday night at San Diego.
They're probably going to have to go 4-1 their division the rest of the way.
Yeah. And a lot of it depends on if San Diego fires their coach and actually plays better, then they could be – because you watch them and it's like they get over 400 yards of offense every game. Like it's a competitive
There should
team.
be a prop like, will they blow a second half lead? At this point, it would be like minus 300, right? Because every single game, it's up there for them.
They haven't lost on a Hail Mary yet.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going way back. I think this was the 1980 Patriots.
Right.
I think we went 2-14. Mm-hmm. It was 80 or 81, and it was one of those Mike McCoy Chargers seasons where it was like everything went wrong. We had a Hail Mary, like the fumbled kick. It was like every single way you could lose. And about week 6, you realize it's one of those seasons.
Right.
And that's what it feels like.
They're
for the
the
Chargers.
Thursday game this week. They have 9 fumbles. You're just not gonna be much better than 1-4 with 9 fumbles.
That's horrible. All right, let's do the lines.
All right. Minnesota and Tampa Bay have byes this week. Tampa Bay plays tonight. Minnesota 5-0 with no interceptions. No interceptions. That defense is 5-0.
Do you want to make that? Do you want to make the Monday night Don Julio shot of the week, or do you want to go Thursday?
I'm terrible with the Don Julio shot of the week. I think I'm 1-4. You
I've
won.
been throwing him down.
You won.
I'm throwing down
You
Don
took
Julio.
you took
I had
Arizona.
the cards.
Yeah.
I've been throwing. Well, let's save it for Thursday because that's a good Thursday game.
All right. So Denver at San Diego.
Well, who do we think's going to win tonight? Just out of curiosity.
I think the Panthers do. I think the Panthers
With Derek Anderson.
With Derek Anderson, I think that it's going to be a similar game to what Arizona did last Thursday at San Francisco. They just figure it out. They score enough. Winston has 8 interceptions. That's the underrated story of the season.
And he had a great first game.
Right.
Remember Skinny Jameis, MVP candidate, and he's been atrocious
Is
since.
that the most effed up game of the year now that we know? Atlanta
up there.
losing to Tampa Bay?
Niners 28, Rams nothing
Yeah.
is close to. So Thursday night, Broncos, Chargers. Do we get Trevor Siemian for this game? I can't believe that's going to affect my pick. But
I think
that's
we're
how
going to
feel.
assume that he is playing because he was almost ready Sunday, and I think they regret not putting him in.
I was not, needless to say, not impressed with Paxton Lynch.
Well, but doesn't that make you feel good that there is a learning curve and these
Yeah, it's
rookies or
not a fluke.
backups can come in,
Yeah.
and especially from a gambling perspective, like you want to see them have to. I hate when these rookies come in, except for mine, Dak Prescott, but they reinvent the game. It's like professional wrestling when the celebrity would come in, like Seth Green is making the Big Show submit. It's like, all right, come on, let's
David Arquette's the WCW
right,
champion.
exactly, yeah,
That happened.
yeah, it really did. So
So-
what'd you say for this?
I had Broncos by 3.
Yeah, you got it exactly. I said 3.5. It is 3, and I think we're assuming that Trevor Siemian is taking snaps there.
Well, Sal, you don't really drink that much, but when you do, you like to drink shots. Don Julio, the world's original handcrafted tequila with multiple unique tequilas, including Don Julio 1942. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite luxury tequila.
Is it?
Actually, definitely.
Yeah.
I really like the Don Julio 1942. But
When you're ordering a shot at the blackjack table and it's 6 a.m. and they're vacuuming underneath your feet,
yeah, and I'm dropping cigarette ashes on them.
dropping cigarette out, you're
Yeah.
screaming Don Julio. Right?
I'm like 19, and then that's when we're coming right up, and then they give me like the cheapest tequila they have, and I can't tell the difference. I like what's the actual line?
It is 3. You got it right. Denver 3.
I think this is an impossible game to pick. I can totally see the Chargers winning this.
You want to take the Chargers, and then
I
you
kind of
think,
want to take the Chargers.
oh wait, I have the end of the game in my head. I have it played out. So,
But this is in San Diego.
right.
That doesn't help the Chargers. They have no home field advantage. I'm taking Denver with my Don Julio shot of the week.
All right. I'm going to use mine up tonight, I think. I could do that. I could take Carolina.
Yeah.
-5.
-5.
All right. I'll do that.
Oh, we can do the Monday night.
I don't know. What do you want? Oh, I thought last week.
No,
did.
we can.
Forget it.
No, we can.
Is
Let's
it?
do it.
Is
yeah.
that too confusing?
It's a night game.
You know what? -6. -6. I'll
Oh.
take Carolina -6.
Then I'm flipping mine to Tampa Bay.
You are?
My
Okay.
shot of the week's gonna be Tampa
Really?
Bay.
All right,
I'm staying away from Broncos Chargers.
All right, we're going head to head.
I'll take my 6 with Tampa.
Beautiful.
All right,
All right,
Sunday
Sunday.
games.
L.A. We have a team at Detroit.
Case Keenum. Jared Goff really has to be behind the learning curve that they're
Yeah.
not throwing him out there.
That was the moment we were waiting for, the gambling moment, the Case Keenum pick 6, and we weren't on it. Bummer.
I had the Bills, but I didn't bet. I had such a bad week 4, I stayed away from gambling. I have the Lions by 2.
Yeah, I said 3.5. It is actually 3.5.
Wow,
So-
that's a lot of respect for the Lions.
The Rams aren't getting any respect. They didn't get yesterday. They didn't get. The Bills end up favored that game.
But the problem is that
I mean, they were a 3-1 team at home, and they weren't even favored by a field goal or favored at all. And now they're 3-2, and they're getting 3.5 at Detroit.
the problem with this line is that the Bills might actually be decent. I
Right.
think they are. And so the Rams, they lose that stupid first game.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Seattle 9-3. They beat the Bucks 37-32. They beat the Cards 17-13. And then they lose to the Bills.
Yeah,
I think they're better than the Lions.
That's
that
one of
line's
the worst
stupid.
offenses, though. They can't get out of their own way. They can't throw downfield. And that Tremaine Johnson, the cornerback, who I think led the league in passes broken up, he might be out for a while.
We got Madden 2017 because my son is now, his friends are playing, so he wants to play.
Right.
So my nephew Kyle was over, and it was downloading. And once it gets to 33%, you can play a game.
Mm-hmm.
So we play, and it's like you can only play the game that's in the system, like the kind of tester game. And it was Rams versus Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I want to play the Patriots. Like, you can't. You have to play this game. So I had the Rams. So we played a game. I was the Rams, and it was literally like being a Rams fan.
Nice.
It's you have nobody to throw to. None of your receivers can catch a pass. Kyle was just lining up 8 guys to stop Gurley. I'm trying to get Kenny Britt open and Tavon. It was a disaster.
You can't get bottled water under 90 degrees.
Right. My fans are fading in the stands. But I was like, I get it. It must suck to be a Rams fan.
Awesome.
All right, Sunday game.
San Francisco at Buffalo.
Yeah. So I went high on this. I said Bills 7.5.
Yeah, you didn't go high enough. I said 7. It's 8.
Feels like a tease.
You're looking at a teaser game. Now, is Kaepernick in? Is he playing this game?
Well, not with all the. If he gets injured, they'd have to pay next year's $15 million. That was a big story last week.
Right.
People think they're icing him because they want to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I think they should play him. I mean, at this point, what do you have to lose?
If they do play him and you're Buffalo, do you pump in the national anthem as he's dropping back to pass? Because then he has to take a knee,
just
right?
play it every.
Yeah, or just have the fans sing it or something. Like every time he drops back, he's constantly taking a knee. It's a good strategy, I think.
It's almost better for Kaepernick if he doesn't play.
Oh, for sure.
If he comes out, he throws out like 4 picks. And
Yeah.
Jesus.
For sure. All right. Jacksonville at Chicago. Wow, these Sunday games are not good.
That's a horrible game.
L.A., Detroit, San Francisco, Buffalo, Jacksonville, and Chicago.
Bears, I have Bears minus 2.5. I don't feel good about that one.
You're going to get it. I said 4. I thought I'd go a little higher. It's minus 2.
Would you trade for Cutler if you were one of the 10 teams that need a quarterback?
I don't know.
Isn't it his destiny to be in the Jets?
I mean, but you watch what's going around in the league. You can get a good rookie in the 4th round, it seems. So
right.
Why do you want to be tied to
Cutler's going to be out of the league?
His negative attitude. Yeah, they've moved on from him. It's very weird. We have to see. I looked up Hoyer's wife because we have a thing with the NFC North having pretty good-looking wives and girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's all right.
Really?
She's an 8.5, 9, I would say.
Wow. NFC North doing it again.
Cleveland at Tennessee. Really bad game Sunday. Really bad. Look at those 4.
This is why I'm bullish on that Tennessee team. We waited too late to bet on them to win the division. Is it too late?
No, it's never too late.
I had the Titans by 7.5 in Cleveland.
I said 6, and it's 6.5, so I get that one.
I just want to explain to you what an incredible experience it was yesterday when Kessler got hurt, and they showed Whitehurst warming up.
That was good.
Just knowing the win is going to happen now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's Charlie Whitehurst. We've got this.
Is it what? It's the most dangerous job in the world, Browns quarterback, right?
You
Like
would
you
think.
like the
They've
police
had 6, right?
the police chief in like Juarez City. What's the very
in South America?
No,
Yeah.
in Mexico. There's a very dangerous city. Whoever's named police chief is like murdered 3 days after they're brought in. Like
That's what the
it.
Browns
That's the
QB
Browns
is like?
quarterback like that. I don't
Jesus.
know what's going on with them.
Well, it's
Tennessee, you might be right. They may have given the Vikings like their best game. They were up 10-0 in that game. They might be good. They might be better.
Did I go through the Tennessee schedule? They
think you
have
did.
their next 3 are Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville,
Yeah.
all home.
Yeah.
At San Diego, which is basically like a home game because their fans are checked out. Home Green Bay, they lose. Then they have at Indy, at Chicago. They go 1-1 with those. And then KC, Jacksonville, Houston to finish.
They're good. They're
feels
getting
like
their
8-8.
offense together. DeMarco Murray is quietly having a great year. It's like 460 yards.
Major secondary issues, though, is their only fear for them.
Philly at Washington. All right, this is a tiny bit better.
Not totally ready to give up on the Eagles yet. I have the Skins by 3.
This is a fishy line. I was way off, too. I said Skins by 2.5. It's Philly by 2 on the road.
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm stunned to hear that.
3-1 Philly at 3-2 Washington. Getting points.
So Washington, have they had a good win yet?
So Cleveland.
They got killed by the Steelers. They lost to your team. Then they beat Washington, Cleveland, Baltimore. Baltimore just fired their OC today.
No. They beat Cleveland, Baltimore, and who?
Or they beat the Giants, Cleveland, and Baltimore.
Cleveland, Baltimore.
But is the Giants even a good win?
I don't know. It's not that great.
I don't think the Giants are good.
No. But I think Philly, I don't know about their play calling. It seems like that screen to Sproles is good for 23 yards anytime they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you don't see it the rest of the game. This is going to be an interesting one.
Sproles is the scariest guy in football who never touches the ball.
Right.
Quick break to talk about our friends at Sling TV. There's a lot of stuff going on. Please don't tell me you're spending these next few months of football season hoping a friend will invite you over, or you're saving up to splurge on a night of lonely sports bar drinks. You have a better, cheaper option at Sling TV, the best way to watch live TV on your turf. Just $20 a month, get more than 20 live channels, including ESPN, TNT, AMC, CNN, other top networks. Add on channel packs like the Sports Extra package for just $5 a month extra. No installation, no extra gear, no annual contracts, even an easy online cancellation. Be a cord cutter. Join millions. You need an internet connection, you're ready to go. That's it. Start watching for 7 days free at sling.com/Bill Simmons to get Sling TV on your favorite device. Restrictions do apply.
All right.
What do we have next?
Baltimore at the New York Giants. It's an interesting game.
I felt bad for Baltimore's offensive coordinator getting fired. Because I actually watched that game, and if Perriman just keeps his feet in bounds, they win the game.
And he has his job.
If Mosley just doesn't reach over the goal line from 4 yards away, they have the ball, and there's no way they should have lost that game.
Right. Mosley's getting a lot of shit for that. They're like, why would you reach? I was like, when you practice hours and hours and hours and never touch the football, and now you have a shot at a pick six, you're going to go for it. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's not going to click something inside and say, no, just go down. Kneel down at the 1 or something.
It's like your classic people who haven't played sports, just not understanding anything about this guy's probably had 3 chances in his NFL career to score a touchdown.
Touch the ball.
He's going to try to score a touchdown.
Right.
I don't know.
Tressman out, Morningweg in. Like you said, for Baltimore.
The least successful head coach of all time. He's here to right the ship.
Baltimore's had 19 games decided by 8 or fewer points since last year.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
John Harbaugh might be this decade's Jeff Fisher.
Ooh,
the guy who was awesome, and then all of a sudden he's not awesome anymore. Actually, that's probably Sean Payton.
Right.
I'd like to apologize to John Payton.
Right. We take it back, John.
Sorry.
So I think we both had -3 here for the Giants, and it is, in fact, -3.
I think this is a loser goes home match.
Really?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, I guess so. Baltimore being in that division.
I don't think the Ravens can get to 10 wins unless they win this game.
Interesting. That was such a sloppy Sunday night game. I know you didn't watch it, but Eli and Rodgers probably could have 7 interceptions, and he overthrew the fullback tie, and then a clear touchdown, and then fumbles the next play, and Green Bay I think kicked the field goal, and that was it.
Important question though. Aren't all these games sloppy?
Yeah, they are starting to get sloppy.
Like your team actually looked good, and one of the things that jumped out in that game was just that they looked well organized and they executed plays and stuff. And I'm so used to watching bad football.
Yeah,
everyone's talking about the ratings and about is it the election, what are the factors, the concussions, and it's I think at least part of it is these games are terrible. You know, Giants Packers should have been 10 years ago. That's an incredible game. And now it's I watched the debate. I didn't even totally care if I watched it, and it was sloppy, and it wasn't that much fun. And it's that seems to be the NFL now.
The debate was sloppy too, but no, I think is it because they can't hit in pads as much as they used to in the preseason? So the first 2-3 weeks, you kind of have to, they're just getting it getting their reps in.
It's that. I think it's the CBA with all the young players on every team, but I just think all these games look sloppy. And Weinberger was pointing this out. You really notice it when it's just one game. Like when it's the Thursday night game, when it's the Sunday night game, when you're just, there's no other games to flick around, there's no fantasy, there's no updates, you're just concentrating. The games just don't have the right flow anymore for the most part.
Yeah, maybe the NFL isn't doing themselves a favor putting the Colts and Jags in London for everybody to stay isolated like that. Yeah.
Or, hot take, maybe we have too many teams.
Interesting.
We don't have enough quarterbacks for all these teteams. Every week there's 10 teams that just have a shitty quarterback. Maybe we need to go to like 28 again.
I agree. Let's get rid of the Patriots. Carolina at New Orleans.
Ooh. Well, I hate this because we don't know what to expect from Carolina tonight. But
so let's assume Cam is starting 2, 1, and 3 teams.
I had the Panthers by 1.
I had them by 2.5. It's 3. They'll be favored by a field goal.
You know, I'm gonna just briefly ask you to reconsider the Saints a little bit.
You're looking at their schedule. I don't know who they would have to be playing for.
They lose to the Raiders last second, right? Last minute. The Raiders are good. The Raiders are a top 10 team. That's not bad. They lost to the Giants in a stupid game that was just ugly. They get killed by the Falcons, which seemed at the time like, oh my God, the Saints are terrible. And now the Falcons might actually be a top 5 team. And then they beat the Chargers. They're only 1-3.
Right.
And if it's 9 wins to win the NFC,
maybe.
My point is I'm not crossing them off.
Well, their defense is atrocious.
It's terrible.
I mean, aside from that Giant game, which somehow ended up like 13-10 or whatever it was.
But that's the thing
really
that
bad.
I only have 10. I have 9 teams that I like. We mentioned Vikings,
in
Pats,
the NFC,
Steelers.
you're saying? Yeah.
No, just in general. Vikings, Pats, Steelers, Falcons, Broncos. I think are the top 5.
Right.
Packers, Seahawks, Cowboys, Raiders. And then I have the Bills as the 10th.
Well, this is a loser leaves town, right? Carolina, New Orleans?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a 7-9 AFC South team, and I think we'll see at least one 9-7 wild card in one of the conferences.
Interesting. All right. Pittsburgh at Miami.
Steelers by 6.
All right. I said Steelers by 7.5. Steelers by 8. And it probably should be higher. And we should just kick each other in the nuts repeatedly whenever we have the chance to get Steelers minus 6.
We're doing that tease today.
At home.
Yeah, we're teasing
at
this
home,
today.
and we pass up on them giving less than a touchdown.
I'm telling you right now, before people even hear this podcast, we will have put in a giant Pats Steelers tease because the Pats are playing the Bengals.
Good. I like that. And the Steelers, that you have to survive 10 deep throws from Roethlisberger. High percentage somehow, deep bombs. And I don't know if you could prepare for that as a defensive
So I
coordinator.
picked up Sammy Coates in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
And he had a good day.
Right.
He actually had a disappointing day if you watch the game.
Really?
He should have had like 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. he literally dropped a 7-yard touchdown and
He
went
did.
through his hands, but then he had another one, and it's like he was open the whole game. They threw to him 11 times. I got him for $1 in our league.
That's nice.
But they threw to him the whole game, and then he said like his hand hurt afterwards or something.
Are you talking about that league that I'm 5-0 in? I think you are, yeah.
Yeah, you're controversial.
5-0.
No quarterback until the wee hours, and
That's
you end
right.
up with Matt Ryan.
Matty Ryan
and-
for $2.
Jesus.
Cincinnati at New England.
I had the Pats by 7.5. I probably too low.
Too low is right. It's 9. So we may have to do a money line parlay to get off that.
We do a
3.
6.5 point tease.
Yeah, could do that. This is the least scared you have been of a Bengals team in 10 years.
They can't run the ball, and they only have one receiver. And I think as your team proved, you take out the one receiver, and then what's left?
And now Jeremy Hill's hurt, yeah.
Now Jeremy Hill's hurt. I will say there was a moment in the second quarter of that Pats game when they got Bennett and Gronk going at the same time, and it might be uncoverable.
It's
I just don't know what you do. They put one guy on one side, one guy on the other side, 2 receivers spread out, and a single back. I don't know how you stop it. I mean, I'm sure somebody will figure out a way, but just watching it, I was just thinking about playing a video game. How do you stop this?
They've reinvented the wheel. They're going small inside and big outside. They have tight ends lined up wide, and the Edelmans and Amendola's and Hogan's running around the middle.
And they had And White was able to run for these little 7-yard runs
Right.
just because of the way the offense was. But when they have Deion Lewis come back, it's going to be a danger. The defense I'm still not happy with, but the offense looks good.
All right, the late afternoon games, Kansas City at Oakland. So the best early game was,
Raiders not covering really hurt. 34-24.
yeah,
Just finish it off, Oakland.
they really
Finish it off.
It really does seem like they just go through the motions and know they could beat these teams whenever they want. Derek Carr, it's like you would think he'd been in the league for 12 years, but Crabtree's now one of the most clutch receivers in the league.
I know,
Catch
and
a fourth quarter touchdown.
What was
every week.
interesting was they could have had like 20 more points.
Yeah,
Because Cooper just missed a couple. They finally got him at the end. But
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted yesterday, it's easily the most fun team, like just from a channel clicking standpoint.
For sure.
Every Raiders game is fun. Carr is really fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's easily the best under 26 guy, I think, other than Luck.
I agree.
But that's a fun team. That's going to be a fun playoff team. And I got to say, like, if that team makes the playoffs, I'm not crazy about seeing them in January.
No. What do you have for, you had -3?
I had -3.
I had 3.5, so you're going to get it. Oakland only 1.5. Vegas was in love
Chiefs
with this
respect.
team, and now it's evened out here.
You
Chiefs
can kind of
respect.
see the blueprint, though, where you have the Chiefs, the 15-play drives,
I
keeping
know.
Carr off the field. Like, I can see it. I probably wouldn't bet the Raiders in this
2-2
one.
at 4-1, and Oakland's only favored by 1.5. All right, Atlanta at Seattle. I guess this is the game of the week, right?
I'll tell you one thing. If Oakland wins that game, they're 5-1, and they'd have at Jacksonville, at Tampa
Yeah.
coming up. Man,
Third place schedule, looking good.
whew. What's this next one?
Atlanta at Seattle. This is a good one.
That's a really good one. I think Pats Bengals is a good one too, just because the Bengals, that's a must win for them. I don't think they can lose that game. Seahawks, I have 4.5. I put that in the Vegas zone.
You're going to get that. I only had 4, and it's 6.5. I wouldn't touch it. That seems a little high.
Yeah.
This Falcons team was impressive defensively. Victor
What-
Beasley Jr., 3 sacks. Keanu Neal, safety. They're doing, like, and Julio Jones had like 29 yards receiving.
That was the part I didn't understand, is that everyone, like Lombardi, who watches all this stuff and gets it, like he was like, the Falcons defense is terrible. They can't rush the passer.
Weird.
And within 3 weeks, they figured it out, and they had like a real pass rush yesterday.
Yeah,
They're
had
doing
6 sacks
things.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
They're good. They're good.
a good
Dallas,
team.
Dallas at Green Bay.
By the way, shout out to Dave Tooley.
What did he do for
When
you?
we saw him view from Vegas, Twitter handle, and he writes for ESPN, but when we saw him in Vegas at Westgate, I asked him, any opinions you have this year? And he's like, the one team I really like this year is the Falcons. I
Wow,
think they have
that's
the best
right.
value.
Oh.
Made a big Falcons case.
Oh, he is going to love that you're talking about him right now.
Tooley's a good guy.
Yeah, I like him too, but it's over for him. That's all he needs. You talked about him. He could jump off the stratosphere
It's
now.
the only thing he said to us. He had it was like, this is my big opinion that
Yeah.
I like this year, is that I think the Falcons are going to be good.
I thought he
nailed
said
it.
too much.
Come on.
I love him. Dallas at Green Bay. Here we go. I'm just kidding. I'm rooting for the Cowboys here. Let's go 5-1.
You definitely weren't kidding. I know when you're kidding, and you weren't kidding. You would totally take a Prescott 3-interception game.
No,
you
no,
would
he's
sacrifice
very
it. You would sacrifice that game to the God of Romo.
He would have to throw downfield to get interceptions. He doesn't do that.
Packers by 4.5, and I like your team.
Well, I said Packers by 6, and it's 4. So you're getting it. God, you really do? I mean, you're basing it off that crappy Giants game. That's why you like. Green Bay's offense still isn't right, you don't think?
Your running back's terrific. The 3 best running backs are your running back, David Johnson, and Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
Everyone else is like a notch or 2 notches or 3 notches below. Those are the
Yeah.
3 difference makers. And your whole offense is built around being a good running back who can, because you have a good line. Now you have a quarterback who can do a little play action rollout. I don't know, man. It's a good team. Like to win without Dez doing anything those last couple weeks.
I was just going to say, I feel like, I hope, in a way, if Dez plays this game, we have the Lambeau curse with us.
Yeah.
Maybe he just sits out one more week.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like something stupid's going to happen again with him?
When Dez comes back and you have basically the same offense you're running now with the possibility of the play action rollout, heave down,
Right.
like it's gonna be a really tough offense
I
to
know.
stop.
I love it.
I like
Tony
your
Romo's
team.
going to be unstoppable. Sunday night, Indianapolis at Houston.
Before
I would say division title on the line, but you say Tennessee.
Hold on, before we do this, we got to talk about Distilled. They revolutionized the fashion industry by creating timeless luxury-grade denim. So you get jeans that would cost you hundreds of dollars. Only their prices start at $65. No markup, no bullshit. Just great jeans at an unbelievable price. See for yourself why A-list celebrities have been spotted in magazines like Vogue and GQ wearing Distilled jeans. You don't need to be a celebrity or have a stylist or even pay $100 to look amazing. Again, Distilled starts at $65. Get your jeans right. Find the perfect pair with perfect fit. They'll ship them to you for free. They'll guarantee the fit. They'll even send you a new pair until you're happy.
Nice.
Go to dstld.com/BS right now. Get 10% off your first pair. Once again, dstld.com/BS. Stop paying crazy amounts of money for your jeans. Go with Distilled. All right, the night games, Sunday night.
You're saying this is for second and third in the division.
Cards, Jets?
No, Indianapolis, Houston.
Oh.
Sunday night.
Texans by 3. I actually like the Texans. I think the Colts are terrible.
Yep.
I think they're just a terrible football team.
I went Houston 6, and you're getting it. It's 3.5.
It's just Andrew Luck the respect of being able to come back in these games. But, man.
I feel like there's not one thing I can learn from this game or these two teams.
It's a stay away. It's a non-watch. I'm so happy I'm going to be on a plane coming back from Boston.
Yeah. Let's have another debate for this Sunday night.
Yeah.
And Monday, Jets at Arizona. Another loser leaves town?
Todd Bowles going against his old team.
Oh, right. The Jets
Carson
have left
Palmer.
Yeah. We think he'll be back.
You know what's interesting? I always look at the DVOA starting around week 4 that Football Outsiders does because you can't really tell anything before there's like 3 or 4 game sample size.
Right.
I think they had the Jets last going into last weekend. It was one of the reasons I took the Steelers.
Really?
That like statistically they were the worst team in football.
Mm-hmm. We discussed it with House. I love their under. That's one of the few things I was right about. The Jets under this year. Their first 6 games were miserable schedule.
Yeah.
And they're 1-4. And who's your team? You said that don't count them out yet, like the 2 and 3. Is it Cincinnati?
Well, I think
Arizona's mine.
Well,
Played 5 games in 26 days. I think they pick it up here.
And they have a couple great skill position guys,
right.
And they have a coach who until this year was good.
Yeah.
So usually every year there's a team that was a contender that just completely free falls out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes 2.
Right.
And then there's the team that starts a little late and becomes a contender like Seattle last year.
Right.
So I think Arizona is the best argument for that team.
I think so too. Did we do this line?
No, I had the Cards by 7.
You nailed it, and you beat me this week. I had 3. It is 7. We might consider them on a teaser, unless you think there's a kitchen sink game, but I think they sold the sink. I think they got evicted.
Why wouldn't we do a Pats, Steelers, Cards, 3-team, 7-point tease?
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Let's do that.
I think maybe just Pats, Steelers, and like maybe for the rest of the year. Just that should be our teaser.
Let's do that. Hey,
Bill Simmons wins 8-6.
I finally beat you.
Yep.
First coach fired still looks like McCoy. Mm-hmm. And I had a good DraftKings week. Those were the only 2 other things I had to cover.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a team that actually won $175
Wow.
in DraftKings. Yeah.
What is
I had
that?
Tom Brady. I had Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. I had Amari Cooper. I had some other receiver went nuts. You have to hit on the Bills defense. You have to hit on 4 guys. You have to hit on your defense is my new theory.
What is that? Not a head-to-head, right? Was it?
No, I did those single entries. I like those. Yeah.
All right.
That's I don't know. I found that
Speechless.
No, I found that I kind of like because my own fantasy teams are so terrible. Daily fantasy.
Right.
It's like all I have on Sunday. Wait a second. Give me 2 minutes to talk about Familia.
Oh, come on.
Nah, come on.
I don't want to.
Come on. Both of our baseball seasons are going to be over by the time people hear this tomorrow morning.
I just hate it, because you don't want to get mad at a guy because like that he blew like 2 saves all year and they wouldn't have been in the position they were until they got there. But damn well that's it. That 3-run homer was coming. I knew it.
Did you feel like you were going to win that game?
No, I thought Baumgartner, if that was a 5-game series, he could have pitched all 5 in 5 straight days and beaten us every time. He's that good.
Is he the best pitcher since Pedro? I know he's not statistically the best pitcher.
What are we to just overall like
Just like,
clutch? I think for sure
I just feel like if my life depended on it,
he's your guy.
that would be the guy. But it would have been the guy at any point in the last 5 years. And
Right.
I don't remember who the pitcher was before that anybody would feel that way about.
before Pedro and before.
But so
Bumgarner.
the guy between Pedro and Bumgarner. Because I know like the Kershaw statistical case is there.
Right.
But I just know like Bumgarner going into that game, and I don't watch barely any National League during the season. And you just know it's going to be 1-0. Like he's going to come through.
Yeah.
There's
He's a
the only
great
guy
presence.
like that.
He just you're kind of screwed as soon as he takes them out. What
He's
about
such
your
a
team?
badass.
You have 3 games in 3 days. You're confident.
No, I'm not confident, but as I told you, so we're taping this on Monday morning. I do feel like having the 2-day delay helps the team that's wounded.
Interesting.
It helps you kind of, I don't know, get your shit together a little bit. Mm-hmm. And
You gotta bang it off that wall a bunch. You gotta come out and win 14-4 today.
I watched more Red Sox than I let on this year. Because it's nobody wants to hear people talk about their own baseball team until the playoffs. But
Just talk about your DraftKings lineup.
my DraftKings lineup is so much more interesting. But there were quietly signs of this in the last couple months. Because their offense, there was this like 3-week stretch in July or early August when the offense was like, oh my God, this team's going to score 20 runs a game.
Right.
The thing I was worried about going in the playoffs was Bogarts wasn't hitting. He hadn't hit the whole second half. Sandy Leone had kind of crashed back to earth. Jackie Bradley Jr. was like hitting 230 the second half of the year. And there were signs of this being the case, but Mookie had been so great. And we had 4 or 5 guys that I trusted. And I think if you have 5, you're in good shape. And then Mookie comes up in the first inning of game 1, 3rd and 1st. Trevor Bauer already looks like he's going to get shelled. And Mookie struck out, and it was like the most uncharacteristic at bat he had all year. And I was like, oh, no, but I don't know. They just don't look like themselves.
Yeah.
And then Porcello gives up 3 homers, which he hadn't really done the whole season. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's these best of 5s, man. It just flips.
I was just going to say, I think baseball playoffs have become too random, and I don't even have a problem with the wild card. I like it better than the old wild card system in that, you're not giving the wild card team the same, gravitas as the team that won the division. They don't go right in against each other. You have to win a playout game. But teams are clinching too early, and 3rd week in October it gets cold, and teams don't. The Rangers were a good team, and they got swept.
Right.
It's just weird. It's just too random.
But it does expose your holes, right?
Sure.
You know, the Rangers had a shitty bullpen, and
Right.
I didn't trust that bullpen. I didn't think they were going to come through. They didn't come through. Toronto has bats that I'm afraid of.
Right.
It comes down to these little block, simple things. And, like, Kluber's really good. Like, I didn't think we were going to hit him in game 2.
You'll see him earlier now that you had
I know.
the rain thing, right?
I know.
All right.
I know. What we need is, I think to come back from 0-2 in a baseball series, you need the momentum Turner game 3 win that puts the team on its heels. We have the city Cleveland still has some baggage. I don't care if the Cavs won. If it goes back 2-2, there's going to be nerves in the crowd. But if Mookie's not going to hit, like, we don't have a chance.
Right.
That's been our guy. Like the first 5 of the order to just all of a sudden put Mookie in a slump. Like, God.
I think if you can get an equipment guy to deflate the baseballs, I think you're in really good shape.
Come on. I have shifted into 2017 is really the year mode.
Really? Already?
No. I still think this year's team's really good, but it is like there is a parachute of next year's team is also going to be really good and probably better.
Yeah.
So maybe this team, maybe they were a year early.
Can
with
you
these
get
guys.
5 innings, 2 runs out of a pitcher today?
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those 11-9 type games
all
would
right.
be my guess.
Well, then no. Then the answer is no.
I do think with young guys in baseball, they almost have to get their feet wet once.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
Like Mookie just looked nervous the
It's
first
hard.
2 games, and you go down the line and
We'll
get all
see.
these young guys. And how you feeling about the Mets? Is like
It's a lot of re-sign. Like I love Cologne, but we may have to get rid of him to open up the money for Cespedes. And
48.
Right. He's going to be 44, but he pounds those innings. It's nice. Got to re-sign Walker, and we have a lot of work to do.
I said to Fantasy, who's another distraught Mets fan, as I watched that whole Mets Giants game. I didn't feel like he had one bat that I was like, oh, this guy's going to come through. And he's like, we did. It's David Wright. Like, he got all defensive about it. But it's like,
Right.
It's funny how in those games, you have to have that one guy where he comes up and you go, this guy's going to come through.
Yeah.
And that's kind of for Boston. Mookie was that guy.
Right. And it was Daniel Murphy for us last year.
Yeah. So if Mookie becomes that guy in Game 3, I think we have a chance. If he's going to get in his own head, I'm worried.
All right. I wish you luck. You seem really into this.
Well, we made a Red Sox. What was our
Red Sox Blue Jays division parlay. I still like it. I wonder what the odds would be for that now.
Well, the Red Sox
Blue
now
Jays
are like,
won.
yeah, they're 4-1 underdogs now. The Red Sox
For that series, for just the series.
Yeah, for the series.
Yeah, it's about right.
I will say the Cubs are really good, and they have the same issue with the young guys. But man, I mean, I know people have talked about it, but when Chapman comes in, I've never seen somebody throw so hard that the catcher almost can't catch it.
Right.
The catcher's like falling backwards as he's catching these.
That's the guy everybody's got to get, Chapman, right? In the offseason.
I don't understand how you hit him.
No.
But yeah, I think that's going to be to come into Wrigley, down 1 in the 9th, and that guy comes in, and that crowd's crazy.
That's what they want.
And he's throwing 120 miles an hour. All right, what do you got to plug?
That's it. I mean, Cousin Sal's sure thing. Check in with me Friday at 9 Pacific or noon Eastern. 3-0 last week. Profit of $1,400.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm really happy.
I'm
for
back
you.
on track. There's a $1,000 prop bet challenge. Someone predicted Redskins running back. I can't think.
Matt
of it.
Jones?
Matt Jones, 31 yards, and that Trump would win a red tie, and someone
Red
won $1,000 would wear a red tie. Yeah, $1,000.
That's funny. All right. Thanks to Sling TV, the best way to watch live TV on your turf. For just $20 a month, stream more than 20 live channels, including ESPN, TNT, AMC, and CNN. No installation, no extra gear, no annual contracts. Just an internet connection. That's it. Start watching for 7 days free at sling.com/Bill Simmons. Get Sling TV on your favorite device. Restrictions do apply. Thanks to Don Julio, the world's original handcrafted tequila, with the holidays coming up. Buy a friend a nice bottle of Don Julio. Thanks to Harvard Scholars at Risk. Saturday night, October 15th, Boston, Massachusetts. Jimmy Kimmel and I, live show, Schubert Theater. All proceeds benefit Harvard Scholars at Risk. Still a few tickets available. Go to citycenter.org or call 866-348-9738. Don't forget about Any Given Wednesday. Off this week. We return next week with 6 straight weeks of shows. Don't forget to check out theringer.com. Don't forget about our 8 other podcast feeds on the Ringer Network, including Ringer University. And keeping it 1600. Those guys killed it last night. Pre-game and post-game debate show.
Nice.
Technology is amazing. Remember when we did March Madness for ESPN for Grantland?
Yeah.
What, like 4 years ago? And Jacoby had to rent that giant antenna that was parked in my driveway.
Oh,
and the
right.
guy broke my basketball court. And it was just, and now it'd just be like Facebook Live. We'd be just online in 5 seconds. Yeah. And we'll be back later on Friday with Lombardi, Joe House, and a special guest. Until then, enjoy the rest of the week. Go Red Sox. Please don't let the season end today.
Anytime y'all want to see me again, rewind this track right here, close your eyes, and picture me rolling.